Hello everyone, welcome back to Volunteer Management Workshop. So this is the last part of the Volunteer Management Workshop and my name is Pranav Menon and I work as a Sports-Centric Development Officer at Sport Northeast. I will be delivering the last part of Volunteer Management Workshop. So just before starting the workshop, I'll just go through the acknowledgement of country. Sport Northeast recognizes the lands and the water that give us life, into which the stories, songs, ancestors, and dreamings of First Nation people are woven. We pay respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, past and present, for their generosity and custodianship of country. For they hold the memories, tradition, and the culture of this great land on which we meet. So just an overview of what the last part of management workshop is going to be. So we will be talking about the importance of volunteer coordinator in community sports as to why that volunteer role is so important now going forward with the pandemic around. And second part or second thing that we will be talking about is importance of young volunteers in community sports, because we have seen that community sports have a lot of older age group of people who volunteer for the club. So it's very important that there are other young people uh, ready to take up the volunteer roles in community sports. So how can we engage them? How can we approach them? So we'll talk on those lines as well. So just before starting the workshop, I'll just give you an overview on what Sport Northeast is and what we do. So we are one of the 9 regional sport assemblies in Victoria. We look after 5 LGAs, that's Alpine, Indigo, Toowong, Wangaratta and Wodonga. We look after community sports clubs in these 5 LGAs and help them to grow and sustain for longer. But apart from club developments, we also deliver recreational programs in the community just to promote healthy lifestyle. Importance of volunteer coordinator in community sports. So we all know that pandemic has been around since 2 years and it has affected sporting sector in all aspects, and especially community sports was pretty much shut down for the last 2 years. The pandemic majorly has affected the volunteer participation in community sports, and it's the club's responsibility from here on to get those volunteers back on track. So a volunteer coordinator role in community sports would be recommended from Sport Northeast because it plays a major role just to manage volunteers. And having this particular role in community sports clubs would reduce the burden on other committee roles such as a treasurer, president, secretary. Earlier, they used to handle the volunteers, manage them, retain them, recruit them. So if you have a particular volunteer coordinator role in community sports club, that person will only be responsible to manage volunteers. So that will be recruiting, training, and then retaining them. Responsibilities of volunteer coordinator. So these are some simple responsibilities that a volunteer coordinator would undertake, and it's pretty much covers all the aspects. So it starts from recruiting the volunteer, training the volunteer for specific roles, and then retaining them for longer in the club. Importance of young volunteers. Mostly community clubs have older people in the volunteer roles and they remain stagnant because there's nobody else who's ready to take up the volunteer roles. So now community clubs have to look into the youth population within the community. And if you look into the youth population in a community, they also act as an asset because they bring in a lot of creativity and a lot of skill sets to the club. Since they are young and they have a lot of friends along within the community, they influence their friends and their families to take up volunteer roles in community sports, and this will help to increase the volunteer base in any of the club. Having a diverse age group amongst the club volunteers also helps in diverse thinking range and thereby helps to make better decisions in the club. The younger volunteers could also use this opportunity as a learning experience to sharpen their skills and take it with them for their future careers. So it's very important for community clubs to look into youth to have a strong volunteer base for the future. Benefits of youth volunteering. Youth volunteers can efficiently use any new generation technology. They can help the club with responsibilities that involve computers. Since now the world revolves around social media, it's important that the club makes the most of these platforms. Youth volunteers can be used to promote the club through these channels. Youth volunteers can help you come up with creative and innovative ideas on how the club can increase membership, participation, and have creative social functions within the club. Since they have new friends within the community, they have a better understanding of the youth population. They understand how youth population can be kept engaged or influenced. Lastly, since they are always around their friends, they like to work together, they are excellent team members. How to engage youth volunteers? So when we say youth volunteering in any club is an asset, the most difficult part is to engage the youth. They are easily distracted when it comes to taking responsibilities. When a club decides to target youth population, the club has to be creative with the volunteer opportunity. Once youth volunteers are on board, it is very important that club recognizing them on social media platforms. Posting their photos and efforts on public forums gives them that extra motivation to do well. We all know that youth population is always looking for jobs, and if the club could help the volunteer in any way, the person will stay with the club for longer. It's very important that youth volunteers are given short, sharp responsibilities that could keep them engaged. Long and time-consuming tasks wouldn't keep the younger audience entertained for long, and this could lead to the younger groups dropping out from volunteering. How to engage volunteers during off-season? During this off-season, it is very important to keep in touch with your volunteers because they spend their time and efforts for the club. There are times when volunteers aren't available around the club, so having an online catch-up could be a good thing to do. Emails, as is done in the off season, sending out emails about the club's progress in the last season, important updates about the club can help volunteers be on the same page. This also helps the volunteers to be up to date with regards to the club's growth. Text messages, there are times volunteers can't meet or have an online catch up, so sending out a text message goes a long way as well. This shows that the club recognizes them and looks out for them. Phone calls to volunteers is also a good thing to be done by any community sports club. Social media appreciation. Volunteers spend their time and efforts in helping the club, so it's good if clubs could appreciate them through all social media platforms. This puts out their name and makes them feel valued. Once the season ends, it's important that clubs ask for feedback from volunteers. It helps the club to understand what were the issues and how volunteer management experience can be improved in the next season. One more thing that can be added here is about face-to-face catch-ups. Since the pandemic is now coming to an end and people can now meet face-to-face, it's important that community clubs can have lunch or dinner with their volunteers because it helps to create a good relationship with their volunteers. End of part 3 of volunteer management workshop. Hope you all have enjoyed all the 3 parts of volunteer management. And along with the workshop, we at Sport Northeast have also created this volunteer management toolkit, which has all these templates that are listed down on the slide. And it's a great resource for community sports clubs because these templates are very easy to use. You can alter the information, you can put your logo and use it according to the club's needs. So this resource is a great resource if clubs are looking into improving their volunteer management. We will be sending out links on our social media post and also on our website. If there are any issues with regards to the link, you can just email us and the email address is on the next slide and we will be providing it to you via email. So if you have any questions regarding the workshop or the volunteer management toolkit, just reach out to us at sportnortheast@thecenter.vic.edu.au or you can just give us a call on the below details. Thank you very much for watching.